I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. I am on location in the rainy state of Florida in Sarasota, and I am telling you, if you hear any thundering and lightning, I think it's going to go really good with this next interview. I am not going to lie to you. This is so ironic. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. So if any light would shine through this pouring rain, that would be amazing. And I think that that author James knows just what I'm talking about. Welcome to the show.
What are the chances, right? What are the
I
chances that is thunderstorming in the background?
you know what? It is what it is. And I mean, we could turn it around and let people see that there really is like nothing but rain going on around here. And so, but how ironic is this? So, I just wanted to talk to you today about your book and everything. But how did you know you were going to be an author? I mean, when did you realize you were?
You know what? When I first started the process, it was basically was kind of like an open diary. I would just kind of venting on my ideas, venting on my thoughts, my emotions, and I slowly but surely started to create it into a routine where I would just go on a walk and I would come back and just start writing. And writing didn't really have a real objective behind it. And so one day I kind of started reading it back, and I was like, hey, I think I got something here. And slowly but surely, I just kept saying that over and over, like, hey, I think this is something. This is something. And, 3 books later, the other two may not be out yet, but the first one is. But I was like, oh, man, I think this is it, So it's been a tremendous blessing to even be able to have the opportunity to have a platform like this. It's amazing, to be honest with you.
I hear you. I hear you. Writing a book. What was that like? I mean, you were like, okay, I got it, I got it. But I mean, were you engulfed in it? Was it something that you literally lived, like psychologically, while you were writing it?
Yes, definitely. Just a bit of a background story. It is about my fiance and I who ordealed with a cancer diagnosis. So we were together for 5 years, and she had cancer for three of them. Both of us were in our mid 20s. I'm currently 28. So when she passed away, she was 26, or I was 26, excuse me. So there was no blueprint or no guideline, nowhere to turn to. I always make this joke that I wish there was a dummies 101 book for this, how to handle it at such as this age, but unfortunately there wasn't. So part of the story and how I got writing was because we had a similar vision in mind. We spoke nothing but positive words. We never thought of the worst case scenario. We told each other, like when you survive this and you have the final surgery, that we'll go on and tell our story. And it's very similar to the one I'm telling now, but of course she would have been here to tell her portion of it. So it was all based on a promise. So on her last day, my last words were to her, where I promise I'll get our story out, and I promise that I'll continue to honor your legacy, and I'll continue to be a testimony of God's goodness. And what I mean by that and how they go hand in hand is because we were together for 5 years or so, the doctors have said at the very last moments that she could have passed away any given moment within 3 years when she first got diagnosed. So that is a testimony to God's goodness, that if it wasn't for God, I would have been shortchanged 3 years, not that the ending was any better, but 3 years is 3 years. So I just wanted to be a testimony to his goodness that we were, I was blessed enough to be able to enjoy an additional 3 years when she could have been taken away and had no clue that she was even gone for what reason.
Wow. Wow. A lot of people would say that I'm so sorry, uh, I don't say that anymore because I think that the time that you guys spent together was so precious that you did it. That there is nothing to be sorry about. It's to rejoice and say that, like you said, you had 3 years with her when you didn't even expect to have 3 days. So that must have been amazing. Unfortunately, she did pass away, and there's where my condolences is. But at the same time, I'm sure you have wonderful memories. So the book is about you guys.
Yes,
That is
that is correct.
beautiful. That is beautiful. What a love story. How does that make you feel that, even though she's not here, you were able to honor that?
What you may not be able to see on the camera, but I have like tattoos, piercings, and stuff. So for I guess you would say like a macho man, so to speak. I'm farthest from that, but just for judging a book by its cover here, most people have that interpretation of me, but it's a tremendous blessing to be able to have an opportunity to speak on it, to represent males as a whole. That it's okay to open up. It's never it's more of an ego thing. It doesn't take away your pride. It shouldn't take away your macho-ness, so to speak, just because you open up and you love somebody else. I love her with all my heart, and I'll continue to say that to my last breath. It is quite strange though, because I had a Disney Channel ending to our life. We were on the process of going to get married. We were going to start a family together, live together, and it's very strange how it all came about and how it ended. But nonetheless, I'm so thankful to be able to tell her story, because it's for the first time. I'm sure, like yourself too, we've all gone through things, and we've cried so many tears, and we felt such tremendous pain, whether if it's loss, it's to each his own. So whatever your case scenario may be, and this is mine, but it's a blessing. And when I was able to finally say I came through on the promise I gave to her on her last moments, that's where the tears of like happiness came from, because I came through on a promise. I know friends, I know family members who can't even come to make a promise happen to go out to dinner that night, let alone I came through on a promise that in her last moments. So it's surreal. I can never stress that word enough. It is a surreal experience to be able to continue her legacy and to have a platform to speak the word of God. I'm not here to preach the word or preach the sermon, but just to be a testimony of His goodness is a tremendous honor.
Uh, when it comes down to honoring your word, the time that you actually get to do that is so precious that, of course, it's emotional. I don't think that's ever going to fade from your memory, no matter what. When you think about the time that you guys spent together and you wrote it down in this book and you got it there, did you know at the moment that you did that this would be a time capsule for you both? That you guys can really relive yourself, you can relive the moment from the book that you wrote?
Definitely. I go through, kind of some of the moments. I didn't capture all of them because I felt like I didn't need to document every single detail in it for readers to get the idea what was going on. I wanted it to have more of I wanted it to be the dark story to be a little bit lighter. Hence the light through the pouring rain. I wanted writers to, I wanted people to know the ending ahead of time, just so they were able to enjoy the moments like I was, because I didn't know it was the end to the end, and I wanted the readers to feel that with me. But rereading it back, it is like a time capsule, because there's little sprinkles of moments where I don't know how to say it exactly, but she would drop little like hints and like dimes of knowledge that I would be like, why are you saying that for? Or why are you expressing your emotion this way, where we could just be here next year? Like, for example, we went to a county fair, and it didn't go exactly how she had envisioned it. It didn't go as it was planned. And when we were waiting for Uber at the time to pick us up, take us back home. She was crying her eyes out and just saying like, "This is gonna be my last opportunity. This is gonna be the last chance I get to go to the fair. I have." Like, and she just like was overwhelmed with emotion, and we were with her family, so it was such a big moment for her, and she just wasn't able to enjoy it just because the crowdedness. Or she was already kind of showing up to the event sick, sick to her stomach, and she was already having a rough go. So when she was like very like expressive and crying her heart out, I was kind of like, I don't understand. Like, we could come here next year, because we never talked about the worst case scenario. So when she was saying that in those moments, as I was writing, I was like, oh man, she was like, I'm not sure if she knew ahead of time or she knew that she was heading down that road. She never communicated that with me, but there's little sprinkles here and there, and like little tidbits that she kind of was foreshadowing what was happening or what was going to come. So to be able to relive that, and maybe kind of, it's like a retrospect. I kind of take a step back and go, man, I think this is what she was doing at that moment.
Wow. I am so touched by what you've done. What is one of the moments that you guys shared that's in the book that would just touch anybody?
Oh man, there's a lot of. I would say, depending what your sense of humor is, why that's another reason why I made it the light through the point. Right, we use our sense of humor to keep things light and to keep our daily basis as normal as possible. With a looming diagnosis that was there, some people, and rightfully so, could have a cloud over their head, and just kind of ooze out the negative. It's not so much negativity, but the emotion. You know, they could wear their heart in their sleeve, and rightfully so. They have no reason. I'm not the judge here to tell anybody how they should conduct themselves. So, you know, we use sense of humor and we stuck true to our character as much into the very end. So it's very funny that I'm a undercover WWE wrestling fan, and so was she. You know, it's very funny we had that in common. You know, it's very rare to find a female who likes wrestling, and let alone like a male who likes it. So, you know, to keep things light, when she started to go through her hair loss, she asked me like, hey, would you mind cutting my hair because it's getting to the point where I can't hide it anymore. You know, it was a very tall task, but you know we got it done, and she eventually, you know, we shaved her head. And once she got done with it, she went to the bathroom and took a shower, and she came back out, and instead of crying, instead of saying like I feel, you know, not good, I feel insecure about myself, she said like, hey James, look, I look like Stone Cold Steve Austin, your favorite wrestler. You know, and she just made the biggest joke out of it when she had all the reasons to be negative. You know, it's little sprinkles like that that kept the situation light. And I think when readers see something like that, they can be like, you know what, I could put one foot in front of the other. Although it is a negative situation, I don't need to feel guilty. I don't need to hide my smile. I don't need to hide my sense of humor. You can still do those things during those negative situations. Don't ever let a situation take away your smile and your sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Let me ask you a question. This book, okay, and I have to say this, you know, the light through the pouring rain, which I don't see right now, but whatever. But what I'm saying is, would it be a book that could help others going through a similar situation get through the situation?
Yes, definitely. Going through the situation and going through their own situation, regardless of what it is. If it's, you know, to each his own. If it's depression, anxiety, there's just so many issues that the world offers, you know. And I think this book could help you out. Where it's to piggyback into what I was previously saying is that even if you're going through a cancer diagnosis, you're going through this, that, and the other. Is that it's to never let your situation take the smile away from you. To remove your sense of humor. You know, it's a war, not a battle. You're going day by day, step by step with this. If you start thinking about the past, the would have, could have, should have, or you're fearing the anxiety of tomorrow, you're gonna lose the moment. And every single day, my fiance and I were in the moment, and that's how we were able to appreciate each other that much more. That we didn't keep our mindset to the rearview mirror, so to speak, and we didn't look beyond that. We just stayed in the moment, and that was the beauty to it. So anybody who could read the book could apply that to their own life. There's a lot of principles, a lot of perspectives that you could apply to your own life, and there's no age range to this. You know, we're in our mid 20s, and I'm telling the story. That's something I never envisioned. You know, I'm not the first one to go through this, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be the last one. But a lot of the documentation I had seen, it was older couples, and I'm not saying like 80, 90. I'm saying like, you know, just older than us, and it doesn't matter what age. It doesn't matter. Like that, unfortunately, that diagnosis doesn't pick. It's not picky at all. It'll get anybody. You know, there's even infants who have to go through this. It's such a tragedy. But overall, though, when you read our story, you can apply it to your own life. Just use those perspectives and the principles, and see life through the lenses that we were wearing, and be like, you know what? As long as we put one foot in front of the other, we put 10 toes down, we dig our heels, and we'll be able to overcome this.
Did this change the way you live your life now?
Yes, 100%. You know, coming back from this, it's I would say, I guess, like recovering and telling the story. I would have been a complete wreck. I would have been a mess telling this story 2 years ago. I could barely function and put two words together. Um, I definitely am matured now. I definitely see the world in a different light. You know, and I always keep a memory fond. You know, that's always going to be the goal and objective here. But there is times where I'm going to be very realistic, where there's moments where I do feel cold to the world. You know, you kind of feel like the world took everything away from you, so to speak, and you feel like the world owes you everything. You go through these phases, you go through the trials and tribulations of the grieving process, and your mentality and your mindset is all over the place. It took 2 years, to be honest with you, 2 years to really build myself back up to where I'm at today. But it is really very realistic, and there's not a time frame. I did mine in 2 years, but realistically, there's people I've encountered throughout the years where it's taken 20 years, 30 years. It doesn't matter. There's not a time frame. There's not a blueprint. To each his own. Really, just take your own time to really grieve and really accept it. You know, really accept your situation.
Such a wonderful title for such a beautiful love story. Wow. and we can get that on Amazon. I did put the link on the bottom. You can go ahead and type that in as well. And wow, I'm loving the title. I'm loving your story. Do you have any suggestions for those people who are going through this difficult any difficult time really? How did you pull yourself back up?
Oh man, I had to pay my dues, to be honest with you. I really had to dig my heels in myself and really find myself all over again. I really, it's to be very honest with you, half of me disappeared, and it was very hard to regain back. It was really hard to function back into society and to go back. It was very difficult to see that the world kept spinning as my world was gone. My world was taken away from me. You know, it's very hard. Like I said, it's to each his own. It's your own grieving process. But for me, I really thought that once I lost her, I thought maybe the world would stop spinning. But unfortunately, that's just the farthest from the truth. And you come to find out that the world has to keep spinning. Unfortunately, even as we do this interview here, there's somebody getting the news right now. They're about to lose a loved one. And if the world was to stop spinning, every single time that somebody was to pass, the world would stop moving as a whole. So you have to understand, in order for us to function as a society, the world has to keep spinning. And there's so many people who passed that I've never heard their name, and God bless whoever has gone through that tragedy. But to me, I wanted people to understand that Annabelle walked the world like you and I did, and had conversations like you and I have. And I want people to know she was an everyday girl, just like you know, she was the love of my life, and she was everything I ever envisioned. And I wanted people to know that she was here once upon a time like us, and to continue to honor her legacy, to be able to cherish her still is a tremendous blessing. So to tie that in a knot, whatever you're going through, just take it day by day. Take it day by day. Find yourself. Don't hold yourself to a standard of trying to overcome the odds. You don't need to build Rome in one day. You could just take it one day at a time, put one foot in front of the other. And honestly, it really just starts when you wake up. Once you wake up and you make that conscious decision, like, you know what, I'm going to pen 10 toes down, and I'm going to just put one foot in front of the other and not stay in bed all day. You already beat the negativity. You already beat the situation, because you have all the reasons in the world to want to stay in bed and, kind of dwell on what you're going through. But once you kind of tell that day, like, you know what, I'm not doing it today. You're not going to conquer me today. You already won the battle right there. So just take it one battle at a time, but don't try to win the war.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you so much for writing about your love and your love story, and to keep Annabelle going. Because it is a story that needs to be told from generation to generation, from love to love, and it'll always be to help other people get through what they might be going through in their lives at the time of the interview, at the time of when they pick this book up. Um, I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much, James. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
And likewise, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very thankful. Been a fan of yours from a distance, so it's a true honor to be on the other side of the screen. I've watched your show for so long. It's very crazy to see that I'm right next to you, so to speak. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. I didn't know, but I hope that some of the episodes have helped you get through some difficult times, as well as some really cool times, and understanding that we all go through something, no matter which level we think we're on. So, but thank you, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to Dream Chasers Radio. Don't forget to tune in, and also don't forget to look at that book. It's A Light Through the Pouring Rain, which I'm starting to see right now. And I think it's because of James. And here's the link. We'll have all of that in the description box below. So don't forget to copy and paste that into your browser. Click enter. It'll take you straight there. Don't forget that. And don't forget to dare to be different, guys. Until next time. James, don't go anywhere. And the rest of you guys, see you later.